whether it is documentary content or whether it is news content. And I think an occasion like this is a great opportunity for people to think of the opportunities that are there in making Mumbai the media hub of the country in the true sense. There is no time for complacency for Mumbai or Maharashtra anymore in assuming that because Bollywood has been the center, Bollywood is centered in Mumbai, that does not mean media will be centered in Mumbai. On a very small and a lighter note, I'll tell you one more thing. You know, I often have a peeve against the Lutyens media.
Legend.
The Lutyens media, Vikram, is not a geographical entity. The Lutyens media is a metaphorical entity. It is made up of people too close to power. And I think it will be a great service if we are able to yank away the center of the news media away from the national capital region. Make it in Mumbai, Bangalore, Trivandrum, Kolkata, anywhere. But let the center of the news media not be in Delhi anymore. So just two thoughts. What are we doing in order to take advantage of the digital-led television revolution, of the number of screens which are accessible to us, of the billions of people who will be creating that content? And what are we doing to make Mumbai the center of the media universe in the country, not just limited to Bollywood? I think these are things that we can open up for conversation.
Absolutely. Sudhanshu, but just taking off again from that point that Arnav is making, that Bollywood-centric entertainment. Now, when your partnership started at Viacom 18 with TV 18, at that point, the first love was naturally television. But you've come a long way since. What has really been the growth drivers for you? Do you see this possibility existing? Because, like Arnav is saying, Lutyens Delhi, if you're able to yank political reportage out of there and bring it to Maharashtra, to Mumbai, do you think there is a possibility that entertainment can move outside as well, considering this has been, and I can't envisage that possibility, but I'm saying there is a churn that's happening and digital can drive it. You're already seeing that in some of the advertising world. Do you think that that is a possibility too?
Yeah, that is indeed a possibility. So if you look at our case, and I think it's true, see, when we look at media and entertainment, I think the one thing we need to make one more shift on is everybody thinks of media and entertainment and tends to start thinking films. Now, films is a very important component of media and entertainment. It has huge runway available for it with screens and everything. But media and entertainment is more holistic now, and it's available for all screens and all platforms. Whether it's your small screen, which we talk about, which is mobile, or it is the very large screen and television being in between. But video consumption will always remain. The second point, which I have now sort of tried to drill to everybody, is that media and entertainment is business. It might be entertainment, but it is business. And it has the capacity to grow, it will grow more rapidly than any other businesses in the country at the moment, and it's already demonstrating that. It's also a very job-intensive sector, and therefore has the capacity to create jobs at a very different level, both formal and informal. And by the way, we don't count the number of jobs which are ancillary to it. So when Shahrukh is shooting, it's not necessarily what Shahrukh is shooting and the director and the actors, but there are also all kinds of people in and around. There's a band, the whole economy which is happening, people serving, all kinds of stuff, food, all that, everything is there. I think coming to the specific question you were asking for our growth drivers, I think the growth drivers for us as a company, see, first of all, television itself has grown. In last 5 years, we started with 4 channels in India. Today, Viacom 18 has 44 channels. Television has grown rapidly. Films is growing. So I think there is a lot of room in films, which is actually, and we need more screens there in that space. Digital is another base where we are very bullish because it's a long-term bet.
The fact is, for us, our philosophy is built on customer centricity. Everything we do is driven by the customer's tastes and preferences, and I think the single biggest taste and preference that our customers here have is an affinity for local languages. The fact is, we about it, it's in our DNA, and within that, I think what we witnessed is a need gap in that cinematic TV does not exist in India. And that's the need gap that we're hoping to serve our customers with. So whether it was our very first original, which was Inside Edge, thank you Ritesh for being such a wonderful partner, and more recently Breathe, these are interesting, very authentic, locally developed stories that not only engage Indian customers, but customers globally. And I think that the time's now for us to understand and respect the fact that we love our stories and we've got a gazillion stories to tell. And this is a perfect opportunity for creators to come forward, because through this we're also seeing the democratization of content.
But, you know, to cater to different audiences, like I was saying, because the numbers are growing, it's an evolving society, right? More and more people are consuming a variety of material that's out there in the entertainment world. I know that you, Mr. Darda, are keenly interested in the local and the hyper-local. But you also believe, because of Lokmat and the footprint that it has, the regionality of a paper like yours, is it likely to dwindle in times to come? And will it be at the cost of, because of what we're seeing in the digital space?
Good afternoon, everyone. So I think the question about digital is not really on media. I think that's a question that's being discussed in every possible boardroom today. Whether you are sitting in a retail boardroom, whether you're sitting in a food business or travel, any of those, digital is disrupting it. I'm a strong believer in print. I'm actually the only one on the panel who's on the non-entertainment side. I want to believe Arnab is part of the entertainment game in a very good way. And so, Sudhanshu touched upon it slightly about regional. So I think the challenges that companies are facing or newspapers are facing are a lot more on the English newspaper, where metros are to some extent have started becoming a little stagnant when newspaper growth is concerned. I think there are two reasons why people move to digital in any industry. One is cost, second is convenience. I think cost of a newspaper in India is lower than actually if you had to go out and sell it for other, you'll make up more money than what you're buying. To your bedroom and deliver the newspaper. So I think there's a huge convenience. Where you're finding challenges are in metros, like I was mentioning. So I think 5 years down the line, 5 years ago, if you traveled by train and you saw 100 people reading newspaper, I think just maybe only 20, and they've moved to cell phone. But that also puts print or any print player, especially the regional print players, in a fantastic position. When we're talking about digital, let me break down the numbers that Arnab and Sudhanshu were giving, about 400 million mobile subscribers. So today you are at about 250 or 250 million, 250 internet subscribers, 250 million internet subscribers in the urban sector, and about 125 in the rural sector. They believe by 2020 it would actually reverse, where about 400 million subscribers would come from rural and about 340, 350 million would come from urban. Now, I think any regional newspaper with about 3,000 reporters covering each and every news from hyperlocal puts Lokmat in a fantastic place. Tomorrow when I need to create content for whether it's understanding for Amazon, whether it's creating, so we are in partnership with the Republic, where we distribute content together. I think putting out hyperlocal stories, I think gives immense strength and immense benefit to a regional newspaper like us.
Right, but in print, or do you think that works the same?
In digital. Investing a lot of money behind, we would be making about 2,000 odd videos on
live without this device anymore. And this is also going all of us would be too happy to participate in this collaboration. We should all be doing, I should have a space where I can take Arnab's news, Sudhanshu's serials. I already have with Ritesh, go to Amazon or not to Amazon. figure it out myself and, you know, say, Vijay, sorry, I'm doing it here. तुम भी यहीं पर आ जाओ यार. और ऋषि को भी बोले कि यार तुम भी अपना cup of chai लेके. Let's all be here because audience is not going to wait for an appointment with any kind of media or entertainment. Actually, they should not. Entertainment means you can do it whenever you want. News is you should have it as it happens. So all these things should happen at the will of the consumer. So we will be a more consumer-driven business, so to say. And I think the Maharashtra government, if it wants to continue, as it's been, apart from the conventional ways of theatres, offering more channels, different languages, etc., and subsidies, I think they should create a hub, a digital hub, where we all can come and put it and let them make the business of providing the service to everyone.
On this kind of collaboration that Shahrukh is referring to, and of TV news, the way we saw it, I worked with you in the making of Times Now, and from that era to now, do you see the possibilities of further collaboration? Because I'm already seeing it. I mean, you're seeing what is happening in Republic TV. This entire paradigm shift, as it were, of appointment viewing going out, or at least it's envisaged as going out in the not too distant future. What does that mean for TV news?
So, since this is about shaping the future of media and entertainment, on a lighter note, my recommendation to the Maharashtra government is that you should also provide some special facilities for the Karni Sena. They will provide you a lot of entertainment in the future. Don't take it otherwise. It helped your film. It helped your film. Don't worry, I'm only naming them, I'm not bringing them here. If they come here, I'll deal with them on a lighter note. But on a serious note, I want to tell you a little story. The world is a world full of possibilities. When I started the previous channel, we took a small amount of investment from a company called Reuters. It was their first investment outside America in a consumer-facing media business. And I remember I spent 5 or 6 days with Chris Ahern, who was president of Reuters Media, to get a 25-26% investment in Times Now.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing was not the money that came in. A small amount of money by today's standards. But people from 10 to 15 nationalities started working in an Indian newsroom. So I had an American, Chinese, Germans, British, all of them working out of a newsroom in Lower Parel. And we used to make a show called Reuters World Report. You will remember, Vikram, they started abusing in Hindi and Marathi also after some time.
So we taught them a few.
But the amazing thing was, for the 2 or 3 years that I worked with them, I got to realize that essentially media has no language or nationality. And since then, I have had just one dream. And that dream is that can we finally provide an Indian, South Asian or Asian alternative to the antiquated BBC and CNN, which will happen from our soil in our time. The success of the Reuters World Report made me feel that it's only a matter of thinking about it. Now consider one possibility. If I use my ability with technology, my as in our collective ability with technology, if I use the youth and the human talent available. Third thing, if I use our ability in the English language, because the Chinese will not learn English in another 100 years. If I put all of these three together, now I throw into it digital and technology. I throw into it artificial intelligence and machine learning. And I throw into it the ability to pick up content from different centers and to curate it in Lower Parel. Then what I was doing on television, creating the Reuters World Report, and I remember when Reuters left, I met Tom Gloser. And Tom told me in a meeting in London, he said, this is the proudest investment that we have had because I'm really proud of the quality of the show that you produce. Can we magnify that 1,000 times and turn it into a global media enterprise focusing on digital and technology, creating content, not Indian content for Indians or global content for Indians, but global content for the world, curated out of Mumbai, Pune or anywhere. Believe me,
what stops it?
There's nothing that stops it. There's nothing that stops it. Nothing stops an idea whose time has come. Believe me, it doesn't. Behemoths come and die. When I left Times Now, I was told you will die because you're taking on a behemoth. We prove with the success of Republic and our play of digital and television that an idea cannot be stopped. I appeal to everyone here, if we are going to make India a soft power, and this is not about money alone, if you are going to make Maharashtra magnetic, if you are going to make India magnetic, then before it is too late, create a global center for world news operating out of Mumbai. I think we need to look beyond the country, and I think we'll be doing a service to the future generations of India. I know that we can do it far better than any global newsroom. It's just that we are now thinking of covering Arvind Kejriwal and what is that racketeer, Nirav Modi. We just need to think of covering Trump.
When is that likely to change?
It's going to change in the next 2 or 3
What
years.
will change?
I have said it. I have said it, and I promise to you on this occasion. And I don't know how this will happen, Vikram, but I am saying it today, that within the next 3 years, Republic will be India's first global entry into media for the world. I won't shout as much on global television. But the fact is, why don't we do it? We don't do it because we are not thinking about it.
Correct.
It has to happen, and it will be a transformative thing, and that's
No, but
where
jokes aside,
political
there is an
activity-
Indian sensibility. There is a way that we consume, what is put out there. There is going to be the need for media that is very Indian in its aesthetic, in its appeal.
Sure.
Now, how do you align it with, because like we just heard, there is a bucking of the global trend where print is concerned. There is a very strong Indian model that is, well, clearly working, it's evolving, and there are problems. But there is a need, if you are going to talk about something that is an offering to the world at large,
Yeah.
how are we going to align ourselves with what already
That's
there?
a matter of detailing. The first challenge you ask yourself in this room, I want you to all think about it when you leave. Can India be a global news media, digital news, television news media hub? My heart says yes. I know it will happen. It doesn't take billions of dollars of investment. It just requires an idea. It needs talented people, and I request all of you one day, please come. I have transformed a mill in Lower Parel into a newsroom. Watch the people work there. Believe me, we will be able to break news from the US faster than any American channel when we choose to do it.
I want to ask you this, Shahrukh, and I want to take it to the other members of the panel as well. Are we thinking alike in terms of what we like and what we consume and what we want to see much more of? Because, like I said, I mean, as audiences start coming in, as newer audiences find their way into the digital economy, as it were, there is going to be a shift, but is this shift going to be uniform? And isn't there a real need for that uniformity to come in so that the kind of offering that Arnav is talking about can be presented to the world, and this kind of hub that you're saying that needs to be in Mumbai and Maharashtra can actually work towards giving out the exports that India is capable of?
Yeah, I think what Arnab Saab says is very clearly what every Indian believes, that it's high time that whichever business, he's in the business of news, I'm in the films, we have television, we have other platforms, and we have newspapers. We would like to be the leaders, at least in the soft power part of it, around the world. And why not? I mean, just to talk about my industry, we still do create the highest number of cinema in the world. And by a long shot, we make 1,000 films a year, 250 here or 280 here. But why aren't we being able to garb it, dress it up, speak it in the language that the world wants to hear, and be the world leaders? Why isn't? I mean, now it's changed, but why can't, you know, we are just Bollywood. We are like supposedly the second cousins of Hollywood. Maybe we should be able to have created a film industry by now, and our dream is most certainly to do that. And I think 2 reasons why we might be able to fulfill it at this point in time, because we are a new digital country. So all the know-how and everything that comes in here, for example, our telephony itself, it's the most modern and the latest in the world because we are the last ones to acquire it and attain it. So we have an advantage like that. We are not using used technology, we are getting the latest technology because we are the last entrant into this digital age. The second part of it is, we are the youngest nation in the world. So all the new ideas that you talk about, all the difference of opinions that will happen, whether it's news, television, newspaper, films, is going to be known first to us. The changing world is going to first happen in India because everybody is under the age of 35 or in 65, 60% people are like that. So we are going to get the latest information and we'll have the latest technology. So why should it ever stop us from knowing what the world wants by knowing what the Indians want? I understand you saying, oh, we have a regular way of thinking, there is an Indian way of selling everything else, but I think absolutely, phir bhi dil hai Hindustani for sure, but I know I have 3 kids of different ages and stages. My 18-year-old son right now is most exposed, like his son is I'm sure, to the rest of the world. His taste is not just Indian, and it's not a bad thing, his taste is global. So when he asks me for something to be shown in entertainment or news, he's wishing upon us by the virtue of having been exposed to the global viewership that he has attained through the digital world. So we will be the first ones to know the changing trends in the world because we are the youngest and we have the youngest technology in the world to change it and dole it out to the rest of the world. So I find it extremely odd that why doesn't everyone in India believe we will be the leaders in soft power in the coming years. I mean, there's no way it can be stopped, it can be changed. And that's why when I'm here for say the Maharastra, magnetic Maharastra gathering, and I belong here. So for me, this also being the hub of media, and all of us here, we'd really like somehow things to happen, that the talent is there, the content is there, the audience is even there, the youth is there, the technology is there. We just need some facilitations so that we are able to rule the world. It's not about ruling India, Mumbai, Karnataka, Kolkata or Delhi anymore. It should be about ruling the world through the soft power that we have. For that matter, Amazon and Netflix are coming here. You know, they're already setting up and thinking it's going to be huge business for them, and it will be. Why aren't we taking those platforms and taking it to the rest of the world with our content and show it? And you know, just to let you know, I think to start off with, we have enough Indians all around the world. There's no place you can go and not find an Indian or bump into him. Every 5th person is an Indian. So we already have a ready audience. We just need to grow it a little more. That's all.
Vijay, you tell me, from a democratization point of view, that's what a digital economy is always touted to do. But when you're actually on the ground, you're actually making these shows, these web series, etc., the kind of audience that you're catering to, they require a different approach, right? When you look at it futuristically, do you think there is a homogeneity in approach that's likely to come anytime soon? And if so, how are you gearing yourself towards it? Are you better placed than traditional media, even when it comes to fiction, to be able to make that offering?
Well, I want to answer this question in 2 parts. One is, the fact is that we celebrate diversity. One of the most amazing things about Indian storytelling is that there are so many wonderful facets. There's such a wide variety. I think what the big opportunity that we provide is for storytellers from India to take their stories day and date worldwide. So, if anything, we're fueling that global aspiration. So, every time we launch anything on our service, it's pretty much available in over 200 countries and territories day and date. So that's at the aspiration level. But as far as the content selection is concerned, I think we must not lose sight of what is truly our strength, which is the uniqueness in the stories that we can tell to the world, rather than do a version of their stories. Right? If you look at our culture, our ethos, and just our history, there's so much richness there. And I think what everybody is saying is that we have a global mindset to take all these stories internationally. And I think we've made a small beginning there by allowing all the creators to take their stories day and date across 200 countries and territories. That's one. 2, at Amazon, I'm going back to the fact that, putting the customer at the heart of it, we believe that no 2 customers are alike. And so variety is essential. To Shahrukh's point, different people at different stages and different levels of exposure come in with different entertainment requirements. And I think it's incumbent on us, both as facilitators as well as content creators, to recognize that in customers and provide that amply and consistently. Right? So I think our goal has always been to provide a global opportunity for Indian stories, and at the same time recognize that no 2 customers, whether they're in India or anywhere in the world, are alike in their tastes and preferences when it comes to entertainment.
Ritesh, to come in on this, by way of these offerings, we know that the biggest markets for some of our films, the US, the UK, the Middle East, in terms of our exports and the potential that they hold, are we able to convincingly grow exponentially? Because that is the promise, right? It has been for the longest time. The film industry has been around for as long as it has. Have we been able to do that? And if not, why not?
Actually, earlier when we were discussing story, like I think when we read a story, right? Somebody like a writer will write it, will come to us. I'll take the story after I identify it, relate to take it to Shahrukh to act in it. So I think when we are reading stuff, we're not thinking of the language or the people. You are identifying with it. So I think on the first step of it is that do we want to tell this story? Yes, we do. Is there a global audience for it? Because it may be in a different language, but you can have subtitles. So I think emotionally or on some level you have to connect to it. We have been, our movies in fact compared to Hollywood films or anybody else, our films released day and date in 45 countries and it's been doing so in the last 10-15 years. You've seen Hollywood films now penetrate on a larger scale into India, but then there are those larger than life films, like there's the Spider-Mans or Jungle Book, which will penetrate a lot into mass India. So I think none of us here, even like I have not thought about it being globally, but yes, today with a platform like an Amazon or a Netflix, you have the opportunity of taking your stories to a global audience and you can say it in their language. But the story is still the same.
Correct.
So I think coming back to, it's become a slightly more easier, even theatrical now with China. A lot of films have gone there and in fact they've done 10 times bigger business in China than they've done in India.
Correct.
And it's still, I did score an Indian story. So I think it all comes down to that. I mean, as long as you identify with it, you want to tell the story.
You're comparing it to India, and India in itself, like you've been telling me offline, is a problem by way of distribution, etc. In terms of being able to consume what is created here.
Right. So we are talking.
So that the base might be a little low, and when you're comparing it to a China, I'm just saying the potential is much bigger than our delivery.
I think, because even Shahrukh said this right in the beginning, you have 1.3 billion people. The maximum number of people which have gone in to see a film is about 36 million. Whereas you know that you have over 250 million people wanting to consume content. How do we bridge that? I think it has to be convenient for people. Right now going to a cinema is not convenient. We all make films for a cinematic experience. And I think there has been a very clear writing on the wall which we've all seen with exactly, again I'm talking about China, because 10 or 15 years ago we had the same screen density as China. In fact, we were at almost 98,000 people to one screen. Today we are at 150,000 to one screen, they've come down to 45,000.
Right.
So I think there is a huge potential even within India to grow. And again, all these sectors, all of them create jobs for everybody. I mean, building a cinema creates a job, writing content, shooting content, whether it's for media, you're employing a lot of people there.
But what are the challenges in content creation right now? Especially in films, of the kind of scale that you make?
I think if you're asking me purely within India right now, I think we need to implement, which we've been trying with the government, is to have a single window clearance for either building a cinema. Right now it takes, I think, I was told by people, we don't build cinemas, but it requires more licenses and permissions to build cinemas than a restaurant or a bar.
Which is a crying shame.
Exactly, that is one part. Even shooting content in India, we go anywhere else in the world, there's a single film commission which gives you permission, invites you to shoot, and obviously that helps tourism. So they want you to shoot at the most iconic places.
Right.
In India, to shoot at even Gateway of India, I have to pick up the phone and speak to the CM. Or Kaustubh sitting here, who helps us. So that is what it is,
Shahrukh, do weigh in on this, because there are real difficulties in being able to produce right now. We have to get over that to kind of look at the entire space more futuristically. Compared to production of films elsewhere in the world, Shahrukh, how easy or difficult is it?
I think, we can sit down and I can enumerate 3 more points that Ritesh has talked about and tell you what are the difficulties in making films here. Apart from a central permission agency, locations which can be handled, increased tourism, having a single window clearance for making more multiplexes or single screen cinema theaters, plus a better distribution center, plus just creation of more consumer-friendly areas for people to take over the film. We can go on and on and on. We can come down to the final union bazi that every agency and every business has. But I think we still have done wonderfully well for ourselves. To look at this, Indian film industry, or what we call Bollywood, is fantastic. It's doing very well. Everybody's earning money. We are making waves. We are somehow kind of a cultural package for India when you go abroad anyway. People do talk about it. And yes, like he said, 45 nations are already releasing our films. And I would also like to say, I'm not going to harp on about the fact that our film outstripped, one of the films I think we did together, outstripped Star Wars in Dubai in terms of collection. All these are small victories. I think we need to have a larger vision, a bigger vision, that we are the content creators, we've done the business. Now let's look at it this way. We are doing business perhaps in more difficult ways or facilities than China, which actually is a way to look at it and say it hardens us, makes us better business people. We've outlasted people who have it easier. So let's put all that together instead of cribbing about what we don't have. There are a lot of problems, and I'm sure they can get sorted out individually when you sit down with every area CM and the CM Saab, who's very forthcoming when he talks to us. And in all the areas, we can figure that out. We can bring up the problems, overcome them. But the dream has to be bigger. The vision has to be larger. And also we need to know that before Spider-Man and Jungle Book take over our film industry and entertainment, I mean, I love Spider-Man, but still just imagine a Makadi is ruling our cinemas while we've not been able to make one superhero in our country. We are a land of heroes and villains, of course, but we've not been able to create superheroes. We are mythological-wise, religion-wise, we have such superheroes. We've not created one superhero to rule the world. We've not created one film to go and rule the world. We are still getting so impressed by Avatar, and we can make it here. He can put it on his news as the most expensive film. I can act in it. Ritesh can produce it. It can be the headline. Amazon will sell after 30 days or 90 days. But we can. We can genuinely own with one of our great mythological films and rule the world. And you don't need a language, like Ritesh said. You just have to emotionally connect. And emotions we have no dearth of. So I think, yes, there are going to be a little bit of issues of dressing up the Indian content to make it relevant to the world. Like Arnab said, he'll shout a little less in the channels when he goes global. I'll have to underplay my acting also, for sure. We'll all have to make changes to dress ourselves for international entry. Of course, for one thing, our films will have to be smaller and without intervals. We have to recognize that. We never seem to recognize that. We keep on making 3-hour-long films. We can't have an interval. It's silly to have intervals and break the story. So we have to change that mindset and then go international. So all those problems, and forget the world, like we said, in India enough we have a big enough market to start off with. We have the most encouraging market in the world sitting right under our noses. We can grow with it, and then we can genuinely go global with entertainment, news, like Arnab said. I'm sure even the print media, we can genuinely do it because English again, if I'm not mistaken, I think we are the most English-speaking nation also in the world. So supposedly we know this language better than the rest of the world, including the English. So there is no issue like the Chinese have. So we can actually, in this zone, really own the world. And of course, little bits of problems and issues get resolved. And you know, we can always go and shoot overseas and make a film there. Take better permissions, take their subsidies, and invite ourselves there and make films. So I think there's no, the future is fantastic if we are a little positive about it.
As a hub for media, Sudhanshu, come in on this, because to be able to create that economy, you need your ancillaries to really shape up. Whether you're talking about VFX, you're talking about animation, those have existed. We look up to Bahubali as our biggest offering to the world. And I want to be as positive about this, but it's my job to play the devil's advocate over here. So do tell me, by the kind of standards that the world expects, that India would like to export, how do you think we are placed ancillary-wise? Because to create this media hub that Shahrukh is suggesting for Mumbai and Maharashtra, you will need all of these to be in place. Where do we stand right now?
Yeah, so I think, on this one, Vikram, again, we've been talking about it a lot. The soft power exists. By the way, there is one anecdotal statistic which I want to share. There isn't a single film in the world where no back-end work has been done in India or definitely by an Indian.
Right.
So I think, so therefore not a single film in the world, that's and I'm talking about all language films. So that exists. I think what needs to be done, and and Maharashtra is very well equipped with our Honorable CM, who's sort of, who's futuristic. I think we do need to get in the infrastructure. And I think it is important, and Bombay, and Bombay and in and around Bombay and Maharashtra in general, we can get that infrastructure. And that infrastructure will play a big role.
If not, then the government needs to do its bit to protect.
Whenever it will come to fore, whenever all around some reason to dislike some creative thing, whether it's a film, whether it's a news piece, whether it's a television series, this is an ongoing, thing that's going to keep happening. It's happened to all of us at certain times in our careers where films have not been liked by a certain section of people. And they have taken up cudgels and said, no, we don't like it. But the films finally do get released. And if they're nice films, people lap it up and like it, and the business goes ahead. So I don't know about the thick skin part of it, but yeah, like you said, creative people do get very emotional about it. And one of the emotions also is that you are a little wary of, listen, yeah, I make it with so much love, but where is it going? Plus also, most often than not, there is a certain amount of business attached to that emotion, which you can't let go of. And our business of films happens in the first few days, which is a given. It's not something that we're just making up. It happens in the first few days. So if you kill the first few days, then the business does suffer. So sometimes you have to continue and do this balance. I hear a lot of media houses. Just recently with the Viacom film, we had people, why don't all the other stars come up? They are not coming up. Oh, they are hiding. And no, we're not hiding. As a matter of fact, the simple truth is this, that there is a section of people who've gone in an uprising, so to say. If more prominent actors and actresses and directors came and talked about this film, as a matter of fact, many a times I suggested to their team, don't talk about this. Just keep quiet, because you're giving wind to fire. And then suddenly these people are becoming more recognized by virtue of being on all the news channels. So just to let them be, don't give them import. Sometimes, when people are going in an uprising, all you need to do is just stand back. Nobody's scared, nobody's fearful, nobody's hiding their own skin and, as is said about Bollywood stars, oh, these people just want to earn money and not do anything for the society. And then, no, none of us are doing that. We love our society because we make entertainment for you. We want you to be happy. And a part of that happiness is, I want you, as a 52-year-old father, want you to come to the theatre safe and sound with your child and happily go, even if you don't like my film. The experience should be my responsibility. So the hurtfulness is not because I'm worried about my film. I'm worried about that girl. I'm worried about my own son watching the film. And that's my responsibility as an entertainer who's been working for more than half his lifetime now. So for me, it's an important aspect. It's not something that I've gotten scared of. Having said that, I think creative people will always, उनको कितना भी रोक लो, वो अपनी फिल्म बनाएंगे ही बनाएंगे, वो अपनी बात करेंगे ही करेंगे. कई बार तकलीफ होगी, लेकिन तकलीफों से वो डरेंगे नहीं. None of them, I think, more filmmakers, I would like to vouch for that. Nobody goes out and makes films to incite people, to trouble regions, to disturb a community. I don't think anybody goes to do that. At least I've been working here in 26 years in Hindi film industry. I don't think more people do that. Maybe some people are, हर business में थोड़े से होते हैं बदतमीज लोग, कोई कुछ कह दे, but more people don't do that. Especially all the responsible people, none of them do it. So yeah, sometimes this is going to happen. I just want to make one point. The sooner the world realizes that with this free flow of information and technology and communication that is happening, a time is going to come that nobody can stop any idea from flowing freely. Every idea will flow freely. But none of us can stop it. So we better buckle up and say, okay, this is a great idea, let's put it cinematically. None of us will be able to, it'll be uncontrollable. Ideas, stories, thoughts, they'll be ruled socially, psychological geographies will come in, people will say what they want. People will show what they want. People will do what they want to. Because entertainment belongs to people. So the faster we get used to this fact that हम यहाँ पे रोक भी लें, तोड़ भी दें, छुपा भी दें, बंद भी कर लें, ये ideas तो नहीं रुकने वाले हैं. And especially with social media and digital world, there is no stopping them. So यहाँ नहीं होगा, वहाँ नहीं होगा. इनके पेपर में चले जाऊँगा, पेपर में नहीं जाऊँगा. मैं अपने घर से ट्वीट कर दूँगा, मैं कहीं डाल दूँगा, Facebook पे आ जाए. So you can't stop ideas from. This is the beauty of the current world for entertainment and media. That ideas are free-flowing and you can't stop them. So, we better get used to it. As a matter of fact, like what Arnab has said, all of us are saying, let's harness all of that, create a media hub, give you a digital hub, give you a content hub. That's what Maharashtra should do. And we should be the one owning this free-flowing of ideas to make money. It's a good thing to make money through the business of free-flowing ideas. I think that's what we should be looking at. these small incidents of people coming, stopping, you have to give it up. Like he said, okay, not thick skin, but minorly thicker skin than thin. You should have, yeah. Not fully thick, yeah. Little bit. We are emotional, so we get disturbed. So little, how do you say? What is between thin and thick? Medium skin we need to develop.
Ritesh?
Yeah.
You know, is there...
People are being a little more collaborative. I think in the case in point is, I think none of course they might have given them a platform, but nobody was taking on the side and saying they are saying the right thing for a film. You know, they were all open about the fact that, listen, this is the wrong thing to do. It's a film. Please watch it first and then decide. And I think that's what is the call of the day, that all media houses, all newspapers, all writing, publishing houses, we should all collaborate on creativity. And, you know, this is the main thing. And that collaboration should find a center in a place like Maharashtra. I mean, or wherever. I'm sure it can do it in Karnataka. We are here in Maharashtra and I love Maharashtra, so I would like it to be here. It's close to my house too. But beyond that, everywhere else, it should happen that way, that all of us should be collaborative. We should all be creative. We should all, as a matter of fact, become fearless, because we are all together on this boat and say things which are right, whether it is in politics, whether it is in entertainment, whether it is in just societal changes or economic stuff. So I think if we all get collaborative on this, and we soon will, you know, thoda sa hota hai dissent, there will be different parts which are saying some more and some are saying less. But I think this world is going to be collaborative. Digital world is going to make us collaborative. And the faster we all recognize it here and make it profitable for us, the better it is. Instead of making it a chance of dissent or a choice of dissent, so you against me, I think we should all be just together and do it. And I think in this case, everybody was together. We may not have appeared often enough. So,
Shahrukh, you started by saying we are not businessmen, we are content creators. You have mentioned
now, गुर्बत में creativity नहीं होती. मैं सबको बोलता हूँ, first get rich, then become a
the
philosopher.
second thing is,
I truly believe that.
second thing is, on this issue of, see, and Shahrukh and Ritesh, with respect to both of you and all of you content creators, content cannot be treated as toothpaste. You can't make different for different levels of sensitivity. If you have to tell a story, you have to tell a story as it is. And I believe the expansion in media that's happening in digital today is allowing all of us, with the expansion of multiple away from protests or whatever. But if you find something wrong, go ahead and confront it. I think it's always worked for
Or
me.
no,
I think
would
that's
we, from the
unsolicited
news,
advice.
protect creativity? Would we?
With such great leaders over here, I am sure the shaping of the future of the media industry is going to be great. The only question I have as an individual is, when do we see Dawn 3?
Oh. I'm not sure you want to answer that right now, Shahrukh. Perhaps this is not the right forum, but I'm sure Shahrukh will have an answer in the media for you very shortly. Make sure that it's about the development of the media industry, please. And let there be questions and pointed ones at that.
Vikram.
Where?
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, you're against the light. Go ahead, sir.
Actually, I want to throw it open to Shahrukh and Ritesh. I wanted to know the future of cinema, theatre, and the community viewing and experiential entertainment. Because of Netflix, YouTube, and this digital media is coming in, and because of the government policies of getting permission, do you think cinema is on the way out?
Cinema is on the way out, you think?
I'm asking, what is the future for theatres and multiplex?
I don't think so. I think I read a piece by some really amazing, wonderful producers, directors, and business houses about what cinema theatres may look like over the years, plus what cinema will be. I think the movie itself will be the experience. You know, not the emotional parts of it that people connect to individually. You will be able to. I will come to you. ऐसा एक मिनट आंसर दे दो अभी अच्छा नहीं लगा आंसर खत्म तो कर लो भाई.
Before you ask your question, I think all of you sitting here are actually creative.
Specific?
सर एक किस चीज का फैशन हो रहा है कि कुछ कंट्रोवर्शियल इश्यूज की मूवीज बनाओ एंड जस्ट गेट पब्लिसिटी एंड कोर्ट में उसका केस जाता है तो ये इस पे आपका क्या कहना है ये
Sir, वो बातें हो चुकी है. One last question about the industry, if at all. Otherwise, we'll wrap. Sir, please go on.
Shahrukh, you mentioned about 1,000 odd films which are made in India. We talk about those 15, 20 big films of the Khans and others. The remaining 980 films know what the figures are. As a businessman, I want to make money. I want to invest. One of the channels would be entertainment or media or whatever. What would be your advice as far as businessmen are concerned, corporates are concerned, of investing in films which are not the top 20?
I think recently, sir, there are amazing amount of vistas to take a small film and recover the money very easily. That's a fantastic thing that's happened in business lately. Ritesh himself, though he's a very big producer, Excel is a very big production house, but they did this very small, poignant, fukre film, very cheap, the first one. And then they've taken it and, you know, there is enough audience, one, the audience is changing like we always believe it is. You have digital platforms where you can go to, you have satellite platforms where you can go to, and somewhere down the line, I think the whole audience, if you would ask me honestly, if you're a businessman, you should avoid to get into a big star setup film initially. Those are expensive. I think movie stars are taking too much money, and it's misutilized. It should be in production. I truly believe big stars should well-meaningly take all the money that is due to them and put it in production values of the film to make that wonderful international film which will cross borders, which will go across the world, and we'll be very proud of it technologically. These things are expensive, so you need to put in money. And sorry, Arnab, I'm again talking about money, but but if you're a businessman, then you need to at least create a little bit of a bag of you know, different films. But small films, medium films have a take in today's world. Color yellow pictures with Anand Rai. They've been making these really wonderful films. Newton's just gone to the Oscars. Small films which are recovering the money for sure. There's music, there's digital, there's satellite. They look after us. They are our big brothers who are watching over film industry. And then there's theatrical and overseas. Cinema is opening. Very specifically, a lot of new countries where we had never ventured before. So I think I would suggest to go into small, medium films. Also, I truly believe a businessman who's bringing in finance for a film should back smaller films. Should come. I think it's a. Sorry.
He says he won't spend 200 crores.
Please don't. If you spend money on a film with me, I'll take it all away. So you just transfer it to my bank. It's better instead of making a film with me and me coming late for shooting and disturbing your peace. And so don't do that. Back small films, back medium films. They need the backing, and I get very proud when all of them here, the producers, they're backing small and medium films. Those are the future. The big films will come, you know. Yes, those are Spider-Man. Those are the regular films. They'll come and go. Big stars will come and go. But those are the ones to back.
Yeah, the big films are going to come. They're going to come from Shahrukh Khan. I'm afraid we've completely run out of time. I'm sorry, we've completely run out of time. Thank you indeed, Shahrukh, Orna.